Grace Yoon, production designer on Beef. I know Lee Sung-jin reached out to you about joining the show. So how did he pitch Beef to you?
Oh, he he had this I wish I could remember, but it was this crazy percentile formula of different shows that he really admired. I think The Sopranos was in there. I think Punch Drunk Love was in there. It just shows that and a bit of Koreeda references, and obviously those are things I love, and felt like, wow, that's incredibly ambitious, but if it's something, I want to be a part of. Um, and he told me about the creative team that was already involved, and I felt like this seems like something really special. And then when we started continuing with the email exchange, I felt like he had such wonderfully specific, thoughtful ideas about the characters and their trajectory. And I felt that I just wanted to help him with his vision.
Um, Danny's and Amy's homes are so important, and also they just illustrate like the duality of their characters and their struggles and their personalities, and I feel like they're also like a physical manifestation of their like psychological state. Like they're both trapped in their homes, but in completely different ways. So I guess let's start with Amy's house because like I know you guys have talked about like designing it as a cage and there's slats and everything and there's like a restricted view, but it's also very minimalistic and it's so curated and it feels kind of performative because she's so successful with her business and she feels like she needs to be that way in her home life too. So what was your approach for her?
I think at first, Sunny and I had discussions about Amy's character and how she was, like you said, she's constructed this outward persona and life for herself, thinking that if she builds it, she will find some sort of inner peace or happiness, And I think her character, as well as Danny's character, they like fall into that trap of thinking that the American dream and success is going to bring some sort of sense of fulfillment, but they're actually quite different. They're just different types of the human condition. So with Amy, we wanted to display that she is successful and she's very calculated in some ways and how she wants to present her life to the outside world, and also like create it for herself too, with the family life and then her home and her business. And so we wanted to convey the sense of control in the way she designed her house, using a lot of rectilinear lines, but then also a sense of like the influence of her husband's heritage, bringing in like a Japanese style, like influences, mid-century influences, kind of the Scandinavian Japanese mixture of those things. Um, so, and this idea of a cage, having at least the first floor of the house, all the rooms flowing into each other, making it feel like an open plan, but not necessarily feeling that way because there's no big picture window that looks out into the yard or the sky or anything, so it feels quite cold and enclosed.
I think you really kind of see that also in Junie's bedroom because I kind of laughed when I saw her bed because it's this like very boxy bed and there's no soft edges. It doesn't look very comfortable. But it kind of just feels like this is totally something that Amy would get for her child because she needs that like control, you know, and
The setup curator, Kelly Jo, Tinny, and I were just thinking about like what is another representation of this cage or like box, like she's boxing in her own child. So
yeah.
that's when we started thinking about what is the frame of a bed. Uh, that also plays into the aesthetics of minimalism, uh, in Scandinavian design.
Mhm. Well, Danny is not as well off as she is, and you definitely see that in his apartment. It's a lot more cramped and messy, and then it's like unfinished like renovations, like paint splatters on the wall and everything. So what was it like designing his place?
We had a lot of fun designing this place. I think our the initial conversation I had with Sunny was that he felt like Danny's apartment reminded him of his very first apartment in LA that was next to the train tracks, and furniture couldn't fit properly, and so we started to think of ideas of like what would it be like for Danny if he had these physical obstructions in his own home, and and where the clutter itself can feel oppressive because it's left over from unfinished projects, and also, hopefully convey that his that's something that he struggles with, being able to complete and finish something that he sets out to do, which is a struggle for his character.
I think you can also like I like that you can see the contrast in him. Like, obviously he wants to like build a house for his parents, but in his place, you can also see like the hand-me-downs and stuff. It feels like generational. Whereas with Amy's house, it's like the point is made that like her mother-in-law does not like the design. It's like she doesn't want to please her mother-in-law with the design. So I like that the contrast there where you could see like Danny has still has this like connection to like the past. Yeah.
I think Danny has the shame of feeling like he's caused his parents to have to move back to Korea, and then he's adopted this idea of like scarcity mentality that a lot of um, that's part of the immigrant experience of like holding on to something so long as it's still useful. So I think his world is a bit overwhelming with the stuff that he carries, like physical stuff and psychological burdens of that. And I think with Amy, um, her, I guess, drive is to escape her her past and like the her family home, like the episode when she goes back, there's a lot of discomfort in that feeling for her character. So I think we wanted to see what Amy's character would do when she reaches a certain level of economic success, of like how she wants to break from that um, type of lifestyle she grew up in.
Yeah, and you also see it with the Tamago chair because it's like it should be like a family memento, right? Because her husband or her father-in-law made it, but it's in the show it's like used as like a commodity, like they can sell it, And I know you guys made that too. So what was it like designing the chair with like the butt imprint?
I mean, it was really, I think I remember reading that line laughing out loud, that I love that little specific detail that Sunny put in there. Sunny did have this idea that he really wanted a three-legged chair. So, and then we started thinking about like this egg curvature shape that would work well with the curvature of, I guess, Fumi's butt outline. So, and this sense of that, like this seat is a lot heavier material than these dainty like three prongs that it's landing on. So I think it was important to do that and also use a color that we don't necessarily see a lot in the show, which is at least not in like an object, but this like really vibrant green. Um, and and it kind of ties into how in George's own artwork of like these amorphous shapes of his father's influence flowing into that as well. But yeah, as a commodity, Amy doesn't care much for the chair as a priceless object. I think it's there's a lot of themes in the show about art being a commodity, and whether it's accessible to you depending on your economic social status. So it was fun thinking about all the artwork in the show in that way.
Mhm. What happened to the chair? Where is it now?
What happened to it might be in Sunny's house, I think,
Okay.
in a crate somewhere.
The butt, it fits his butt, the print. It's fine.
It fits a lot of people's butts. While we were making it, a lot
You
of
all
people
tested
sat
it,
on
yeah.
it. Yeah, tested it to make sure it could bear the weight of a human being. So a lot of people tested it.
Well, great. So it was great speaking with you. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll see you back in a little bit.
Thank you.